Hey, it's Rick Kettner here, and I just wanted to share a quick little video about a recent change that I made here on the YouTube channel. And I also wanted to share some insights and some lessons that I gained from making this change that might apply to you even if you have no interest in filming content, doing any form of public speaking, or using a teleprompter at all. Now, the change that I recently made, if it's not obvious, is I stopped using a teleprompter to create my content. So for a long time, up until very recently, the overwhelming majority of the videos on my channel used a teleprompter. And there were some benefits to taking this approach. And in this video, I want to share what those benefits were, why I made the change, and then, like I say, how you can learn from this experience that I had, even if you have zero interest in using a teleprompter or doing public speaking or filming videos like this. So why did I use a teleprompter? Number one, I started using a teleprompter because for my very first video, the video on the Tesla Cybertruck that I published in November, for that video, I spent a long time trying to craft this perfect script. I think I spent 4 or 5 hours on a script that ended up being like a 7 to 10 minute video, something like that. A ridiculous amount of time, but I wanted to relay the information as clearly and as concisely as possible. And of course, once you start going down that road, it's a bit of a rabbit hole, and you end up spending an endless amount of time crafting a message that really, at the end of the day, doesn't need to be nearly that perfect, but that's the approach I took. And when I went to film that video, I ended up trying to memorize as much as possible. I didn't have a teleprompter, but I tried to memorize the script as much as possible, and I think that came through in the message, but that's another thought. What I realized was, if I really want to relay information in that kind of concise and brief way, which I valued at the time, and I still value, but it's a different, there are other factors. So I thought, okay, if I use a teleprompter, then I can film this way faster. It also helps with post-production because I have help from Trienke when it comes to the post-production. He does all the video editing. And so if I do multiple takes of a video, then he can simply choose the takes based purely on delivery because he knows the content is exactly the same. I'm reading off a teleprompter, and so he knows he can just simply select the best take. He doesn't have to worry if I preferred a different version of how I would describe something, just picks the best take. So it helped with post-production. It also helped with on-screen graphics that we do. So every once in a while, when I share a tip or a clear statement or a quote or anything like that, we do on-screen graphics to help enhance the learning process so that you can see a clear message that might be a core idea in the video, and hopefully that enhances the video and it changes it up so you're not just staring at my face the entire video, which is also nice just to mix things up. So using a teleprompter was obviously really nice for all of that. I could say things very precisely, very clearly, and I could plan all of that in advance, which was really nice. The problem was it took a crazy amount of time. And I think most importantly of all, it came across really inauthentic. So even though it's my words, even though I wrote the scripts and it's my message, I don't have a ghostwriter, nothing like that. It's still, when I'm delivering something and I'm just staring at the lens and trying to read the teleprompter screen that's hovering in front of the lens, that affects authenticity. And it affects the ability to connect on a deeper level. And another big thing is it strips out the ability to deliver a story, to deliver a joke, to just banter off the cuff. You can't do any of that when you're using a teleprompter because it's painfully obvious that it's rehearsed or that you're reading. And if anybody has the sense that you're using a teleprompter, which inevitably is going to be obvious to some people, then you just can't really get away with that. And I ended up stripping out a lot of casual jokes, casual banter. I tried stories once or twice. I felt it really didn't work when I'm reading a story. It just comes across wrong. So there were some very real issues that came around authenticity. And I think another big thing is that I realized that information alone isn't the most valuable element of what I'm doing here. Now, I understand that for certain people, if you're performing a Google search or you're searching on YouTube and you're looking for something like how to attract more customers to your business, a topic that I've covered here on the channel, then in some cases, all you're looking for is a quick, succinct answer. And that is the road that I went down. That was what I was trying to provide. But the problem is purely delivering information, again, stripping out stories, stripping out humor, because again, it comes across inauthentically, that can really affect the retention of information and how it's perceived and the relatability of feeling like you're actually connecting with me as you watch my video. And so I realized that information is not the only value that I'm delivering. It's also the connection. It's also the sense that I can actually relay that I've been there, I've done that, here are the challenges that I've had, and I can crack the odd joke that hopefully enhances and makes the entire experience a little bit more engaging and a little bit more entertaining. So those are some reasons why I started to shift away from using a teleprompter, or I made the hard shift, I should say, to move away from the teleprompter, and why I don't intend to go back. I also realized it's way, way faster to outline videos, and that makes a big difference because, and this is where it starts to become more clear how this information is more useful to you, even if you have no interest in public speaking or any of this stuff. When you lower the bar and no longer are trying to provide this perfectly crafted message, which unfortunately, when you start to use a teleprompter, it's a rabbit hole, like I mentioned earlier. You just feel the need to make the message better and better because if it's painfully obvious that you're using a teleprompter, you really have no excuse for not explaining things in a very logical and precise way. And so it's, like I say, it's just a rabbit hole you go down when you know you're trying to use a teleprompter. You increase the bar and you end up trying to make everything much more complicated than it needs to be. Meanwhile, when I can film videos like this, I can create an outline in 25 minutes. I can just speak off the cuff, share with you my thoughts, share with you my insights. I can provide more value faster to people. And I think most important of all, there's some personality and there's some relationship involved. And so even if you can make the argument that popping on YouTube search and saying, how to attract customers to my business, you just want information fast, that's kind of a short-sighted approach. I was trying to do that, but I've realized that's a short-sighted approach to creating value for you because ultimately, I want to establish a relationship. I want to be able to help you with all kinds of aspects of building and growing your business, increasing profitability, and everything involved in that. And so if I'm able to actually create a connection with you, where you sense that I'm actually trying to help and that I want to help you build your business, then I'm going to very likely create a lot more long-term value from you and not just one video where you couldn't really connect with me. You could tell I was reading, that guy's weird, I'm not going to watch his videos anymore. And unfortunately, I couldn't deliver more value to you. So when you think about your own business and how this applies, number one, it's really important to be authentic, to prioritize authenticity even over just relaying information. Information alone is not particularly valuable. It's important that people actually get it, that they see where you're coming from, and that they retain that information. And part of that comes down to engagement and making something a little bit more entertaining. Now, another big thing is that you want your business to have some personality. And you want your team and your brand to have some personality. And if everything's just about conveying information as efficiently as possible, those other areas are bound to suffer. And that's what I found. As I'm watching back on my videos, it sounds like I'm reading. It sounds like I'm an announcer. That's what Kyle, my video editor, and I used to always describe it as. I would get into announcer voice. And I mean, it's cringy when I watch it back myself. It might be cringy for other people, very likely so. Now, the one hesitation that I had when filming this video is the idea that I may now be causing people who would never normally go back to some of my old videos, you might end up going back and watching them. And unfortunately, that means more people watching my cringy scripted videos. But regardless, this is what I've learned from this. You want to be authentic. You want to be natural. You want to have a personality. And along those lines, you want to be able to produce value for people more quickly and more efficiently and not worry about trying to perfect everything. So I hope those insights are of value to you. I hope that I've also explained why I made this stark change on my channel. And normally what I talk about is how to build and grow your business. So if you're watching this video and you're interested in building and growing your business, I recommend that you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on future videos. And of course, if you just stumbled across this video on YouTube because you've been looking for tips on how to use a teleprompter, well, I strongly recommend that you do not use a teleprompter. I actually saw a number of videos on YouTube while I was searching for how to use a teleprompter properly and the best teleprompters to use, and others had been recommending the same thing, and unfortunately, I did not heed their advice. But I hope you don't make the same mistake. I hope that this connects with you, and if you look at my previous videos and you look at this video, I hope it's night and day in terms of the connection. Now, let me be clear. I have virtually no experience with public speaking. In all of my previous businesses, I've intentionally played a behind-the-scenes role and had co-founders or other people on the team be in front of the camera and be the face of the business. And so that is one reason why I use the teleprompter. I'm not a particularly strong public speaker, but another benefit to doing it in this format is I'm actually cross-training my ability to do public speaking. And if that benefits you in some way, if maybe you've thought about doing public speaking, you've thought about creating content, then maybe that's another thing worth considering, is that this approach does allow you to become better at speaking off the cuff. I tend to film 2 or 3 versions of these videos just to make sure I release one that's a little bit more succinct. Already right now in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm wandering off the topic here a little bit. But anyway, that is my approach. I film a couple versions. I'm hoping that in 6 months down the road, because I'm relatively new at this, that my message will be that much more succinct and that I won't be taking multiple takes. I'll just speak off the cuff, and the first version, hopefully, will just be good to go. And so it saves time, it saves energy, and I think it's just way more natural and authentic. And like I say, it also cross-trains the ability to do other public speaking, show up as a guest on another podcast. Right now, I have creative control. If this goes way off the wire, which this one is starting to, I can just stop and restart recording. But of course, you can't do that when you're on somebody else's podcast or when you're speaking live. So this is a great way for me to also practice all of that and to become more comfortable. One little rule that I have that you might benefit from as well is once I hit the record button, I don't stop until I'm done. I can redo it, but I don't stop until I'm done because I want to get used to the fact that I just have to keep going. And if I make a blunder, I finish the take, and then I decide if I need to go back and fix it. So I don't think that's the case. I think this was a reasonably good take. I'm going to leave this one as is, but I hope you learned something from this. Again, subscribe to the channel if you're interested in learning how to build and grow your business. And do click the like button if you got some value from this video. It lets me know, and it also helps YouTube promote this video out to other people here on the platform. But thank you for watching, and if you are interested in business, then I'll see you in a future video.